What up, guys? It's time, week one of the Dubai Fitness Championship, and CrossFit's somewhere in there. But forgive me for getting the title wrong if I didn't say exactly right. But we all know this is a CrossFit sanctioned event this year. That puts more eyes on the competition, and I think the qualifier for the next few weeks is even going to be more exciting because of this. But nonetheless, I know that a lot of you have your eyes on qualifying for this event. And even if you're not eyeing to qualify, you want to perform well. Maybe this is something that is going to be like practice and preparation for the Open this year, for another sanctioned event that you want to qualify. And I think that's all valuable because we know universally a lot of these things are going to start to shake out and play out very similarly. So the more experience you can build and still tie in some training, the better. So best of luck to everyone out there. But let's dive in and take a look at what the scores are this week, because there are two, and then also maybe some ways to think about preparing your body, setting up your equipment, and just some things to kind of think about in regards to repeatability and you know, how is this going to pair if you're trying to do Wodapalooza qualifier as well. Nonetheless, here's a workout. Part A, in 0 to 10 minutes, you guys are going to do 60 double unders, then 10 thrusters. 60 double unders, then 20 thrusters, 60 double unders, then 30 thrusters. 4 time. The men are gonna use 110 pounds and the ladies are gonna use 80 pounds. Forgive me, I did not write down what that is in kilos, but I know that you guys can figure it out. The rule there is that you gotta choose one or the other. You can't kind of mix and match the weights. So, how do we attack this, right? Part A, to me, the 0 to 10 minutes is a trap. And I say it's a trap because I think that when you notice something and you see and you get this window of opportunity between 0 and 10, it doesn't seem like it's as urgent to fight for every second possible. And I think that's a tremendous error if we recognize that that's not the case here. There are gonna be thousands and thousands of athletes that are out there throwing down against your score specifically. And the more things that you can consider in regards to where's the barbell gonna be set up, how am I gonna grab it? Do I need to reach full hip extension before I pick up the bar into that first thruster? Like, all of these things actually matter. So let's dive into how you should prepare for this thing. 0 to 10 minutes, and I'll caveat that by, let me explain part B as well. So at the 10th minute, you're actually gonna start part B, which from 10 to 20 minutes, there is a cap there. You have to do 5 rounds for time of more dubs, 30 double unders, and 15 chest to bar pull-ups. So again, we're getting these, throughout the course of the whole 20 minutes, we're getting this Fran-themed like experience with the thruster and the chest to bar pull-up, and it's broken up by the double unders, which for some of you is a good thing and or a bad thing. It kind of reduces the total power output and kind of throws in some accuracy and timing in there. But nonetheless, as a warm-up, what I strongly suggest is 3 to 5 minutes of general movement and flow, right? From what I would suggest for most people, it's either a row or a bike, because I feel like the carryover and the universality of those movements is gonna give you a lot of blood flow to the musculature that's gonna get fatigued, right? The row, it's kind of the double time because you're getting to warm up your mid back, your upper back, your biceps, which you'll be pulling with in the workout, and your legs. For the row or for the bike, it's gonna be a little bit of a push-pull with your upper body, and clearly we're still getting the quad, the hamstring, and the glute engagement as you cycle. But the goal is keep it easy, keep it light, general movement and prep. Then you wanna get into any mobility issues that you might be having. What's gonna limit you with the thruster? Is it your upright torso? Is it your ankle mobility? Are your quads feeling tight or glutes feeling tight from training specifically? Don't be afraid to hop on a foam roller for a couple minutes just to kind of get the tissues moving, and then get dynamic from there. So what I would encourage you guys to do is going through a series of lunges. I'm a big fan of a forward, backward, and lateral complex where I might do 10 steps forward, 10 steps backwards, 10 steps laterally, really focusing on mobilizing my hips so that I can get great depth without a ton of work. And then also supersetting those movements with something like just a free hanging kip swing on the bar to prepare my shoulders for what they will experience in my chest to bar work in part B of the workout. Set up a small, little circuit where you're doing maybe a forward, backward, lateral lunge into 5 to 10 kipping swings, 2 to 3 rounds of that, right? Then we dive in and start to get more specific. You might go into some air squats, into some pull-ups, a couple rounds of that. All the while throwing in small sets of double unders, making sure that your calves, your feet, and the timing of spinning that rope is going to be on point. I know that this workout may not have a tremendous amount of volume, right, when we look back to what the Open had us experience this year in 2018. But the accuracy is going to be that more important because of that, right? The smaller the sets, the less opportunity that you're going to have to separate yourself from others doing the double under. So you want them to be concise. You want to know when you need to break them and really feel like that rhythm is on point to get started. So throw that in as well. And then clearly we're going to progress to all the way into our barbell thrusters with the loaded weight. I personally like to load the bar up a little more. So I overload the bar for a small set or 2 small sets of 3 to 5 reps. That way when 3, 2, 1 go happens, that 110 will feel just a touch lighter for you. And then at that point, I'm also supersetting it with a few set of chest to bar pull-ups, and again, concluding with some dubs. Lastly, before you guys get in, I always suggest this is as you're resting or setting up your camera or your team is helping you kind of navigate the best approach to this workout, is make sure that you break the seal a bit. So if you weren't moving fast enough to get out of breath and get really sweaty in your warm-up, you wanna make sure maybe you sit down on the rower or the bike for just a couple seconds of a sprint or a surge, spike your heart rate, and then completely recover before you hit the workout. This will allow you to not be breaking that source of fatigue in the middle of the workout, right? The worst thing that we wanna do is finish this first round of 60 and 10 and then feel like you just got hit by a truck because you didn't break the seal cardiovascularly prior to that. Now let's talk execution. Right, you gotta meet yourself where you're at. So part A, it's clearly thruster heavy. And I don't mean the weight is heavy, but I mean that we're doing 60 thrusters. Fran, so you guys know, is only 45 total repetitions on that end of the thruster at 95 pounds. So now the load is increased to 110 for the men, 80 pounds for the ladies. You've gotta know when the juice is worth the squeeze and going unbroken, right? What you don't wanna do is start off 60-10, 60-20, and then again feel like you've been hit by a truck going into the 60-30. That will cause your 30 set to be broken up way more than you want to and anticipate. So if you're someone that has the capacity to go unbroken, all the props to you, but the majority of athletes are not gonna have that capacity, and this set of 20 really matters. Just because you feel like you can doesn't mean you should go unbroken, and I want you to understand that if you calculate when to rest, you will have a better overall time and experience than the person that rest chooses them. So choose rest before rest chooses you here in this workout. Clearly you want to think about breathing and recovering as you cycle through your double unders, and the thrusters where the meat and potatoes of the work is going to happen. Get that done as fast as you can, fight for every second. Then you're going to rest the remainder of that time. During that time, I want you to be recovering as hard as possible, whether that means flat backing it and you laying on your back, whatever that means, right? You could be sitting on a bench, but really what we need to be doing is making sure that your grip and your hands are ready for more double unders, because even holding the barbell in your hands for the time under tension necessary in part A can affect your experience on your chest to bars in part B and your double unders. So make sure that you're stretching out your wrists, giving yourself a few internal and external rotations so that we're just getting some blood flow to those elbows. And then in part B, we're going for it, right? We're gonna try to keep the double unders unbroken. And then for the chest to bar pull-ups, don't think about the 15 that you're doing in that round. Think about the next few sets of 15, right? Think about all the longer that it takes to do dubs. 30 double unders unbroken is gonna take most people 20 seconds, right? They're gonna get through that really fast. And so you're gonna get back to that bar sooner than you may anticipate. Again, you're gonna be fatigued, and grip fatigue is gonna be mainly the limiter for most people that have been training at high intensity at this point in the year. I would encourage a lot of people to break them up early and often, and it could look like 8 and 7, or it could look like 5-5-5. But what you don't wanna do is be an athlete that has the potential to go 5-5-5, and on your last 2 rounds, it looks like you're doing only 1 and 2 at a time because your hands are so blown up, or we've made an error and we've torn our hands, or we weren't prepared, or we're walking over to the chalk bucket to chalk way too often because we're just really tired. So think about the way round 4 and 5 are going to feel, those last 30 chest to bars, versus how you feel in the first 1 or 2. Remember, just because you can doesn't mean you should. My advice to most athletes is to break up the chest to bars early and often out the gate. And for a lot of you, especially a lot of you that are fighting for a qualifying spot here, you may be able to go unbroken on rounds 1 and rounds 2, but then you've got to have a plan for when you start to feel that fatigue set in, and not just letting the fatigue itself that you're experiencing dictate the decisions that you make in the latter part of that workout. I know that everyone that's out here that's watching the video is at different levels, and they're attacking this workout for different reasons. But this workout, more so than the Wodapalooza, if you guys have your eyes on both, doing both, is definitely more destructive. The volume, the load, the amount of contractions that are taking place. This workout repeatability is like twice. I would say that your chances of repeating this workout within a 3-day window are much less likely than the Wodapalooza qualifier. And so what I say, and what I would suggest to most of you, is to, if you think this is one that you may repeat, you do this one first. Right, you do this workout first, you take a day off of recovery, maybe some light training, and then you attack the Wodapalooza qualifier that has much less volume, much less based on local muscle fatigue and muscle endurance, and something that you can push through with accuracy and precision and speed. And then maybe another day's off and you get an opportunity either on Sunday or Monday to actually attack this workout again if it's necessary. But repeatability is gonna be tough on this one, guys. You're gonna be feeling the residuals of this, especially if you have a high capacity breathing wise, because you're gonna be able to go pretty big on these thrusters and on the chest to bar pull-ups. So good luck to everyone out there. When it comes to camera setup, this one's pretty self-explanatory. You know, you're gonna want your bar profile to the camera view, and you're probably gonna wanna be facing the rig. So I would encourage you guys to be doing your dubs right behind your barbell, and then during that transition time, you're able to just kick your barbell forward, have your seat, do your thing, have your dubs right in front of that pull-up bar so it can capture the chest to bar action and you doing your thing. So good luck out there. Break those chest to bar pull-ups early and often, and I think you guys are gonna have success.